Hey guys, welcome to Cadaver Chatter. It is I, Delicate Cadaver. If you're new here, welcome. I love all things horror, horror games, horror movies. I attend horror events and I try to bring them here to talk about it with you guys. And sometimes I like to bring people in. Lately, it's just been like my siblings or some friends. I haven't really done too much. This is still a fairly small thing I do for fun. I had the wonderful opportunity to do my first interview, which this episode is very special to me. It is a first for this podcast and for myself because I've never really interviewed anybody before. This opportunity was amazing for me, and I'm so excited that I get to share it with you guys. I spoke to none other than the man who plays the butcher in Puppet Combo's first horror movie, and that is Sean Watson.
It's just nice to have a customer here right now. It's getting late. I'm getting a little nervous.
When you look at the statistics, violent crime is pretty rare.
Let me tell you, all the nut jobs come out at night.
You'll probably be fine.
What the hell is that?
Deborah, right? So you want to be my secretary, huh?
But Mr. Dean, I'm really interested in this position, and I think that...
We'll let you know.
Show up to work on a Friday night, and the second you step foot in the place, you can cut the tension with a knife.
What is the salary?
$160 per hour, plus tips.
Oh, hi. Hello.
Hi, here for a job interview?
Sure you get the job. Seems pretty desperate.
It would be a miracle if I can even land this.
Well, call me the Pope, because you got it, baby.
Hi, sir. How can I help you today?
Fill up my tank and make it quick. I'm running late.
Is there anything else to do?
Nope, that's it.
I'm Johnny.
Oh, sorry. I'm Deborah.
Let me show you something.
So the next day, the storm's over, right? The sheriff goes around checking on every single house. He makes his way up here, and every bedroom is covered in blood.
Kato Akira Tanaka.
Oh, wait. You mean cats?
We're out here trying to verify his whereabouts. Have you seen him today?
That's actually the reason why I'm working right now. Apparently, he just randomly left last night, right in the middle of his shift.
We'll need you to come in and cover for him at 10, the night shift. That's the most important shift.
You here all alone?
For those of you who are not familiar with Puppet Combo is an indie horror game developer. They have released games such as Murder House, Feed Me Billy, Nun Massacre, Blood Wash, Sniper Killer, Skinfreak, which is actually a new one that's coming out on October 16th. So if this episode is out before October 16th, wishlist it on Steam if you want to play it, and if you want to play the demo, head over to Puppet Combo's Patreon. And I love that he works with other game developers who just love horror as much as he does and as much as we all do, and tries to get their games out there. And there's some pretty good ones out there. And if you subscribe to his Patreon, they have everything. I think all the way from the beginning of their catalog, they have it there. I have had the pleasure to play a few of them on my laptop, and they're great. I love it. Everything that Puppet Combo has put out is unique. It's unique, it's fun, it's immersive, and sometimes it's kind of hard, but I have fun playing it regardless. The environment is great, the music is great, the stories are so crazy and sleazy and campy sometimes, and I just feel like I'm in a horror movie when I play these games. And it definitely changed the horror games genre, and I cannot express enough how much excitement I feel for not only, Ben, who is the head of Puppet Combo, but for everybody who worked on this film, everybody who loves the games, everybody who loves horror. I am excited for this movie to be seen by others, and I'm desperately like trying to get more people to know about it, and maybe people who can help get it distributed properly can listen to this and see it for themselves wherever they can, and get this movie out there so that nationally everybody can see it. It was such a blast talking to Sean and learning about this experience and how he got into this role and what we can expect from this movie, and just little fun tidbits here and there, and just getting to know who he is as a person was really nice. And I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So I'm going to get you guys over there. Thank you so much for checking this out, and I hope you enjoy. This is my first interview. Please don't be too harsh on me. Be gentle. So here I am with Sean Watson, the butcher from Night Shift, and I'm so excited for this opportunity. Thank you again for being on my podcast, my first guest.
Yay, I'm excited. I'm glad. I'm excited. I'm to be someone's first guest is an honor. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's no problem, no problem. I just wanted to get to know you, get to know about how you got into this role and how you learned about it, all that. But first things first is, who is Sean Watson? Describe yourself to everybody.
So I'm a 6'3", 300 pound horror fan. So I love horror and cosplaying. So I'm a big cosplayer. I usually go to several like horror conventions. I'm just a fan first and foremost for anything, and that's how I kind of gravitated towards like where I am right now. But I'm a father of a 5-year old. I'm married. I've been married for about 9 years, and I'm somebody who definitely puts their family first. I love my family. We've been through a lot, but if anybody asks you, about me, that they'll either say I'm a big teddy bear or I'm an asshole. One or the other. And I try to consistently be a good father and a good husband, and I'm just an all around. I like to think I'm an all around great guy. I like to talk to people. I get along with a lot of people. Very friendly. And the fact that I love horror movies and cosplaying. I love that stuff. So that's me in a nutshell. A big nerd who is a family guy but loves to dress up too. So.
That's so awesome. How long have you been doing the horror cosplay?
Uh, I went to my first convention back in 2009, Dragon Con in Atlanta. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not, but it's more focused on not celebrities, but because most conventions are bringing celebrities and stuff. Dragon Con can care less about the celebrity. I mean, they bring in good celebrities, but like it's not focused around that. It takes place in like 5 different hotels on Labor Day weekend every year in Atlanta, and it's consistently sold out. All the hotels. If you get a hotel, you're very lucky. But I've been doing it since 2009, and I remember the first time I went, I didn't know what to expect. It was my first convention ever, and going there was like a shock to the system for a first con, because this is like 60, 70, 80,000 people that show up. And let me tell you something, the costumes that people wear, anywhere from horror to anime to just making your own stuff up, it's amazing. Like you're talking like these people put together better costumes than what Hollywood could do, and that's no lie. And I remember when I first went, I was like, I'm not going to be like a nerd and dress up. That's too much. I just want to go and have a good time. But when you saw it, it just, I don't know, something clicked, and it was like, maybe I'm going to try that. So I started out doing Star Wars stuff and, kind of make my own costume because I want to be original. And, from there, it just kind of took off. And I'm starting, I started to use my size as like playing some other characters. Like I want to do Michael Myers next year, Rob Zombie's one, because of how tall and big I am, and I wanted, I do a lot of like Walking Dead, like beta. I have long hair, which is up right now, but like I'll have like the hair down, and I got all the costumes and stuff, and people love my beta costume, but um, I don't know. I just every year I try to stick with certain things, and then I try to like change up certain things, and it's fun. I just enjoy it. I've been doing it for a long time, and I just how I don't think I think some of the one of the biggest compliments I got from being dressed up was I dressed up like the governor. And the lady who did the wardrobe on Walking Dead was at one of the Walking Dead conventions, and she come up to me and she was like asking me about my cosplay and stuff. And she said, "That looks dead on." She said, "That's the best governor I've seen." And that just, it's just like your head blows up. And like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, you're like,
her name's
"Ee!"
Ewan. Yeah, I was like, I cannot believe that she came out to me, and then doing Killer Clowns from Outer Space. The Chido brothers were doing a convention in Dragon Cons, and they came up to me and was asking for a picture, and they thought it was the best Killer Clown costume I did, because I had the popcorn gun that was all self made. I had a mold. Some guy did the spike mask with the pink spiky hair. Because I'm so tall, and it just makes me so much taller. And they wanted to come and take pictures with me, and it was just such an honor. So there is, that gratification that you get is just, and I've won costume contests, Killer Clowns. I won $500 at a costume contest one year,
Oh, wow,
and
that's
it
sick.
it is, but the mask deteriorated because it was just, it's been through a lot in the last like 10 years. But no, it's fun. I enjoy it. It's horror, and I don't know what's more fun than dressing up like a killer, right?
Yep. And it's just that gratification. Like you work so hard on something and
Mhm.
you get the gratification of somebody saying, "I love that so much. Can I take a picture with you?" And
Exactly.
it's so cool. I've done only one cosplay at a convention. It was my first one, and it was just a character I created, a clown, and it was like a voodoo doll clown I did,
Yeah.
just like a fool in love is the theme, and it's like there
Nice.
was pins all over it, and I just wanted to do something different, and it
Yeah.
was fun, and I had a few people come up to me and want to take pictures, and I just felt like, dang, like it was a last minute design. I was up to like 3 a.m. and just having people wanting to take pictures with me was so like I was gratified. Like I was like, okay, like I guess people did like it. I was so worried that it wasn't gonna come out good. But
It
yeah, it's
happens.
definitely a good feeling. Definitely a
It,
good feeling.
yeah, it happens. You go in there and you think, oh my goodness, are they gonna, am I gonna get any paid? Now, I've been to conventions where I walk around and nobody knows who I am. And that kind of sucks, but in the end you have fun doing it anyways, when you're in drag, like I dressed up for like Maniac Cop, I did the Maniac Cop, and people at DragonCon, it's not a horror themed convention, so you do have people that recognize like, oh my goodness, it's pretty cool. I did dress up as my character as the butcher, but I did it like my own style before I even knew what the actual costume in the movie was going to look like. Walked around and not one person asked for a picture. But then again, they probably didn't know who I was, and
Hmm.
you got to be like it's a certain fan base, right? It's not like it's mainstream yet. Hopefully, it will be, but like video game horror people, most of them know what that is, and
Hmm.
but then you have some like Killer Clowns. I couldn't walk 2 feet without people wanting to take 100 pictures and stuff, and it's just you've been on one end of the spectrum, and then sometimes it's nice that you don't get that because you're so tired and worn out and stuff. But it's either way, it's fun. You just got to have fun with it, and like what you did, being original. I mean, that's awesome, and that's how it starts, and then it just starts to get every year you start playing something else and doing something different. And well, I'm gonna, you go to these conventions and see what these people are wearing. You're like, whoa, that's a good idea. Let me think what I could do. And it's such a rabbit hole to go down.
Definitely, definitely. And uh what was I gonna say? I was going to say that the horror community is just so welcoming.
Hmm.
And I think because Halloween and horror is just there's so many people that love it now, and conventions are always, at least here, I'm from California.
Yeah,
We always have droves of people in line, and like we have a lot of like main conventions here for Halloween, horror, makeup.
yeah,
We got I'm not sure if you've ever been here before, but we have like Monster Palooza, Midsummer Scream, and I think we even have like Son of Monster Palooza, which was just this last weekend or
I saw that.
this last
Yeah,
weekend? Yeah. And it's just so nice to see everybody get dressed up or even inspired to do their own thing. Really cool. Really
yeah.
cool.
Monster Palooza. So no, no, I haven't been out to California for any conventions. I went out to California 6 times when I was in the military for desert maneuvers out at Fort Irwin. So I never got a chance to experience California, right? Just,
Hmm.
but I'm hoping one day that I get a chance to go out there. I would love to be out there as a guest. That would be really cool.
Oh, that would be so cool.
If I don't, that's great. Hopefully, this movie picks up and some people, they want me at conventions. I just love to interact with people. And so being a fan and getting to do something I dreamed about doing is to me is that's all I need, right? Like I enjoyed what I did. If it doesn't happen again, it's fine. If it does, that's awesome. But like I'm very content of just being like going out and enjoying it. But if I could be a guest doing that, that would be fun too. So hopefully one day, you never know. I may be out there sitting at a table signing autographs. It'd be great. So,
Oh, that'd be cool. I would definitely keep my eyes out for that opportunity to get. I want to meet you.
oh,
Um,
yeah, well, I'm sure we'll meet. Trust me.
I hope so. Come on, everybody go. Like, we gotta get Puppet Combo, the
Yeah, yeah.
distribution to get this movie out there. So horror cosplay, did that inspire you to become an actor, or how did your acting career start?
So, so it started with it started when we moved to Georgia. I was a big time Walking Dead fan, and you would always see like when I lived in Augusta, Georgia, you would hear about them wanting to hire and stuff. And then I moved up to Indianapolis for my job, and you would kind of see that they started doing more filming in Georgia, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have been down there. And so when we moved back to Georgia about 3 years ago on just under Atlanta side. On my Facebook feed, I would start getting all this, like movie stuff popping up because I knew one or two people and they would tell me, well, check this place and check that place just to be an extra. And so um, I just started putting in and, you don't hear anything after a couple weeks and, putting in and putting in and putting in, it kind of gets, it gets old, you like, you kind of give up and, um, Walking Dead has since been done with by at this point, but I remember I finally got a booking to come in as an extra on the Kevin Bacon show, The Bondsman. And I was so excited. I was like, I don't care if I'm on camera or not. I just want to go and just be behind the cameras, the scenes and just see what happens. And so that's kind of how it got started. Once I got started on that, I started getting booked by a lot of other people, a lot of other agencies for background stuff. Um, and then extras casting. I've done a lot of work for them, and they would call me up sometimes at the last minute to do like stand-in work. So I would do some stand-in work on top of just background acting, and you know. I was very flexible I don't go in there and I don't do a lot of complaining. I don't expect a lot. I don't um you know I just go in there and have fun, because you get to really see what's going on. You get to work with these actors sometimes, and you get free food, which is like good for me. I love the free food. Like they'll feed you now. They feed you pretty darn good on set, especially if there's not a lot of you on set and you get to eat with the crew. That's great. But no, I got into it just trying to do something extra, and I don't know. I got that first gig, and I enjoyed it, and unfortunately, that first time they cut that scene out of the bondsman, so that never showed up. But I ended up getting called back on that set several times, so it was really cool to experience that for the first time. Then going on to where they filmed The Walking Dead, the whole studio and stuff. You get to go there because they filmed that at the same place they filmed The Walking Dead. So you got to see all the remnants from, the Commonwealth and stuff, and a lot of the Walking Dead property. Here you are a fan of it, watching it on TV, and then next thing you know, you're actually in the studio watching them film and talking to some of the guys on the show. So it's fun. It's fun. That's how I kind of got into it, though. It was nothing elaborate, like hiring an agent or anything like that. It was just kind of, I had the look they were looking for, and they called me up. So
Ugh, that's so cool. I know I
yeah,
could just imagine just what's the word? The starstruck without being in front of the star, just being on the set, just
Yeah.
so excited, like, oh my God, it's actually real. I'm here.
It's cool. It's very surreal. It's very it's very humbling to kind of get to be a part of some of that stuff, and it's just I don't know, it's overall fun. You can't be in it for the money because the money's not great. The money's not great. You have to really love to do it, or keep pushing yourself to get somewhere else. I was always told I have a specific look, like biker or prisoner or something like that. And so I kind of keep that look, to hopefully maybe it'll get me somewhere. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. My wife wants me to cut my hair and shave my beard, which I kind of get to the point I want to some days, but then, um, we'll just see what happens. I tell her, give me about another year and see what happens. And, if I don't plan anything really major, then, that's fine. Probably cut it off and do something different. So,
Well, for this one, the night shift movie, you didn't have to shave anything, do nothing. How did you get into that role?
oh, so this is a funny story, right? There's a lot of stuff that happened for me to get this role. And the first one was when I saw, because they posted it on like Facebook and some of the filmmaking stuff on Facebook, some of the filmmaking groups. And if I remember correctly, I think they were looking for somebody big and tall for the killer. And I was like, oh, okay, let me put in for this, because I don't really ever see them put anything in for the killer usually. Usually it's like, the actress or the, some background stuff or supporting role. So I was like, well, I'm gonna see if I can get this. So I sent them the information, sent some headshots and stuff, and they gave me an email back saying that pick between Alabama and Atlanta. They were going to be doing some. You come in and you do some auditioning, right? So you go to some auditions. So I picked Atlanta. It was obviously closer. So my wife was out of town in Canada and visiting family. I had my at the time she was 4 years old. I had my daughter, or no, she was five. No, she was five. It was just this year. I didn't have anybody to watch her, so I was like, I ended up getting a babysitter. And the morning that I was supposed to go, I was suffering from depression. I suffer from depression. I get, in these like the state of depression sometimes where it's hard to function and stuff because it just hits me really hard. And on top of that, I was sick. So I was kind of like, well, I don't really want to go because I don't want to get anybody sick, number one. But I don't think it was like anything contagious. But at the same time, it's like I already paid I've already paid this babysitter to come. And if I cancel on her, she won't get the money. And I was like, she's in college, so she needs the money. So I was like, well, I'm not going to cancel on her. So I ended up showing up, and they were still auditioning for female roles, and I was like the second guy there. So I was there for about an hour. And the first guy I see in there when I walked in was a guy named Donald, and he's the guy who plays Rick in the Russian gas station owner. But when I first saw him, he was all big and bulky, and I was like, oh, I said they're gonna pick that guy to be the killer because that guy's just big, like he's huge. I said I'm not, he was shorter than me, right? But I'm like he looks like he could play a good killer. And so I was like the second or third guy to go in. And when I walked in is when I met the director, Ben. I didn't know who he was at the time. I didn't know anything about the game. I didn't know anything about any of this. I was actually going in for experience. I really didn't think anything was going to come of it. So they came in and Ben was asking me if I had any acting experience and or any acting class. And I was like, in the back of my head, I was like, I'm not going to get this job because I don't have like acting classes. And I was like, my experience is very, very small because I've only been doing this for about a year. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get this, but I'm like, I'm going to push through it. And, they asked me a couple more questions. And then I said, look, I want to be the killer. I said, that's my dream. That's what I want to do. I want to be the killer. You guys are looking for a big guy. I don't know if I fit what you're looking for, but definitely that's what I'm going for. So they asked me to read a part for one of the characters. I did. And then they started asking me doing stuff for the killer, like how the killer walks and stalks. And then Ben asked me to scream. So I screamed as loud as I could. He's like, uh, can you do it louder? I'm like, I don't know. I'll give it a shot. So I tried to scream louder, and I was like, they said, okay, we'll get back with you if you got the part or something, if we want to, and we may do a over the phone interview or something. I said, all right. So I walked out, everybody's clapping, saying, good luck. That sounded good. Everybody's encouraging. So we walk out and I'm like, I ain't getting shit. I'm not getting nothing from these guys. I won't hear back. And I think a couple days later, they said they wanted to set me up for a Zoom meeting. I said, oh, okay, this is promising. So I said, all right. Didn't hear from them. No, I'm sorry. Before the Zoom meeting, they asked me to send in a video of me acting out this part from the movie. So they sent me the script. I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, I've never done this before. So how do I do this? Because I wasn't expecting to get to this part. Do I just kind of sit in front of a camera and just kind of act it out? Or do I set up this vehicle? Do I set up the hammer? Do I grab a hammer? Because I have cosplay stuff. So I was like, let me incorporate that into what I'm doing. And so that way, if they don't like me, they'll remember me at least because I went all out. And so I acted the scene, sent it to him, and then I was like, man, this felt I just felt stupid. Like I was like, I don't know, this looks kind of corny. But I was like, I sent it to him, and then I get an email saying they want to do a Zoom meeting, and I'm like, okay. And they were going to give me the time. Well, I never got a time, and I emailed and I said, hey, what's up? I thought you guys wanted to do a Zoom meeting. I see that you were sending out these emails to other people, but I never got anything. And I believe it was Maggie, the producer. She was like, "Oh, she's like, we really like you, so just stand by." And the next thing I know, they email me the entire script and say that we're doing the table read. So that's when I found out I really had the job. And that was like, I don't know, it was the coolest thing. I was like on cloud nine, but at the same time, I was like, oh crap, I'm like actually gonna be a big part of this movie. Like this like focus, like this is all gonna be on me now, to pull his character off. And so yeah, that's kind of how I got the part, and what kicked it off. And it was just I don't know. It was exciting, but it was really scary. When I got into the table read and started going over all these other actors, they have classes. They've been doing this for a while, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt very overwhelmed. I was like, man, I might be over my head because I don't. These guys, everybody here is great. But then, I kept my composure. I said, this is what I wanted to do. And the stunt guy, Donald, he sat with me and he helped worked on things with me and he was telling me what to do and how to do things. And so I felt more comfortable. And, from there, I was all in it. I was all in it. So,
Oh, that is so awesome. That's so cool. That's a great story.
yeah, it's a long one, but it was great. It wasn't easy by any means, but it's a fun story to tell because it's not just your typical go in and get the role kind of thing. So I think it has a little flair to it.
Yeah, it's really cool. That's awesome. Just
Thanks.
having this opportunity in general must have been something so like surreal because it's like I'm gonna be the killer. Like,
Yeah,
and I think like just looking at you right here on Zoom, like you seem like you're very tall, and I'm
I
five
am. Yeah,
three, so I would be like, hello, like I'd be looking up
yeah,
like, oh my God.
yeah. I'm
Um,
6'3". I'm pretty tall. Yeah, I'm probably usually the tallest person in the room, except for the tall stranger. He is a little bit taller than me.
oh, that's so awesome. And since then, have you seen gameplay? Like, have you seen footage from the game of the butcher and stuff like
I
that?
have. I have. I actually was going. So I get vertigo, so I can't play those kind of first person games as much as I love it. But I did go on. And I was looking at stating how the butcher was and what he was doing and the way he was responding and reacting and stuff. So I tried to I tried to mimic all that, and I tried to take that essence of the character that I thought the butcher was and brought that on set. And to be honest with you, Ben, that's his brainchild. He's the one who created all this. So getting to pick his brain and see what he wanted and how he wanted me to portray the character was just it was awesome because like this is the guy who created this and he's the one putting up the money and I just and I've had long talks with him at night. I've told him I said I went up to him, I said, look, I hope I'm doing your character justice. I hope it's what you want. And he reassured me. He said, "You are the guy. You're the guy that I wanted." He said, "I am very, very like I'm very lucky that I got you," is what he told me. And he did tell me, that maybe I'll have a part in future movies and stuff, which is great, So you hope you get more work off of this one if this one does good. But no, it's that I've tried to get as much as I could off the game, and then I fed off of Ben going off what his direction and how he wanted, because ultimately I can interpret the character how I want to, but he's the guy who is funding and he's the director, so he's got to direct me. And I felt like there was not a lot of him having to direct me into getting into the character. He would say, "Hey, we'll do it like this or do it this way." But for the most part, I think I got in such a character mode and just enjoyed it, and I think I nailed it. I really do. So
I'm so excited to see it. I haven't been able to get tickets to see the premieres that are available. I know it's in soft release right now.
yes.
Um, but you did say that you watched like some gameplay to try to get into the killer's head and see how you could portray this character. What else did you do to prepare for this role?
I watched a lot of like older horror movies too, because this is based in the '80s. So I I try to take like people that characters I love, like Michael Myers, Jason, those big hulking guys that just keep on coming. And I even went one step farther. I went to Days of the Dead in Atlanta, and I talked to some of the actors that portrayed like Jason and Michael Myers, and I would ask them specifically like, how did you prepare for your role for Jason, or how did you prepare your role for Leatherface or something, and I would ask those actors that. Um, Taylor Maine, who played Michael Myers, the big one, and Rob Zombie, I would ask him because like I loved how he did Michael Myers in that one. He was ruthless. He was big. You can't kill somebody, right? That's intimidating. But with their 6'4", 6'5", or even bigger, I mean, that's just looking at someone like that's just even scarier. And they put a mask on and coming after you. That just, that really kind of defeats you. That this person's coming after me. There's no way I'm going to be able to stop this guy. He's unstoppable, and look how big he is. So I tried to take all that information and talking to these actors and stuff and getting stuff off of my buddy Donald and just kind of put it all together. And I would practice like how I would do certain scenes and stuff. And my wife would help me out with the lines and everything. And it was a lot of doing it by yourself kind of thing. But you sit in the mirror and kind of practice and make sure that you look like it, or you videotape yourself and you're like, that might not look good, or that might be too much, So it was a lot of just a lot of going back and forth and kind of studying some old horror movies, along with not trying to copy them, but try to get a sense of uh my own posing figure type of guy. So that's what I did.
Ah, this is awesome. I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself using the
Oh no,
same
that's no,
vocabulary,
I
but
appreciate it.
that is so amazing. Um, just like I'm getting, what is it? It's like secondhand excitement for
Yeah,
you
yeah.
through this
Well, I appreciate it.
experience.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I loved it. Look, I really got lucky getting this, and I feel blessed. If this movie, if it doesn't do as well, and there's not a sequel, or it doesn't, I don't make it to conventions, that's completely fine with me. I look at it like this: I got to do something I really loved, and I didn't care if it was a big budget or a small indie film like this. I actually loved this small indie film, doing it better, being on bigger sets. We were like a family on this set, and it was stressful. It was a lot of work. It was long hours, but like we appreciated everybody. And out of everything that I've done, this by far like just takes the cake for everything. So I definitely I'm blessed to have done that. So, and that's all I can say.
and your character doesn't talk, so having to study, Jason, Michael Myers, and then asking the people who played them too, which is one of the great things about conventions, is that sometimes you get the opportunity to meet some of your favorite, like either like horror movie killers or voice
Hmm.
actors or anything like that. I
Yeah,
think that's what makes conventions so great, is just having that opportunity. So you being able to go up and say, "Hey, I'm going to play this killer for this movie, and I want
yeah.
to do this," like, and he's like, "Oh, cool. Well, this is what I did." That's so cool. And it's also just another prime example of why the horror community is just so
Hmm.
great.
Yeah.
And for
They
the
they
for oh, sorry.
no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it was just a follow-up question, but go ahead. I'll ask
Oh,
it after.
well, no, just the horror community generally, they love the horror movies. So, to one of the things I'm finding out with this being shot in 16 millimeter film, like it's old school, and if you're a horror fan, you love it or hate it, and like from what I've seen and what I've heard, like people loved. Like I guess how Night Shift was filmed, which is it looks cheesy, it looks 80-ish. It's got some, a little bit of comedy in there, some drama, some horror, but like that's what 80s was. And the way that Ben does it, to me, he's such an artist because the way that he promotes the movie, he does, the t-shirts, the old style t-shirts, the music, all that stuff. To me, it's true art because it's not it's all practical effects. It's not all, screened in and digital and stuff. So, I
That
just
was that was about to be my question too, was there practical effects in the film? So
yes,
that
yes,
answered my question. That's
yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
And I love practical effects. When you watch stuff and being a horror fan, I love the practical effects a lot more than the digital stuff or any of the other stuff. Like when you just can get blood splattered or you see it on the ground instead of it just being computerized on there and stuff. It's to me it's so much better. And we only had one night to really do all those effects, and it
Oh
was very
wow.
stressful. Yeah, it was one night that we did that. And so we had to fit everything that had all those special, special gore effects and stuff. All that had to be done pretty much in one night, and we did it in one night. It was actually very stressful, but it was to me like being in that situation to see that stuff because I haven't seen that kind of stuff, in other sets. I've been on like horror movies, but I wasn't there like when or background or anything when they did killing, except for one. I did one stand-in work where two guys off of the Bondsman were cut in half off their monster truck, flipping over, and they turned into demons. That was cool because
Oh,
I got
that
to,
sounds
I
cool.
get, but but like other than that, I didn't really get to see much more gore until doing this, and the lady that came in and did it, she did a great job. You got to see, like a lot of the stuff that they do in Hollywood, like the old school stuff, and it was really neat. It was really nice to kind of experience that and be like, oh man, I get to be a part of that. It's cool.
Oh,
You can't get better than that.
yeah. Oh, that sounds so fun. I growing up, I always wanted to be a special effects makeup artist, and it's something that I keep trying to get back into. So just hearing that you guys had to do it all in one night is insane. And back to like the classic ways of how we made movies. It just shows that this project was just all passion and
Yeah,
love for horror movies and love for movies, just everything. And I can't wait to see it, and I can't wait for other people to see it. So we need to start bugging these distributors like, hey, like
yeah,
we need this movie, especially because it's like 80s reminiscent as well with
yeah.
anything that Puppet Combo has done. I feel like he really revitalized an era of horror games and just
Yep.
how they're done. And I I really want this movie to be big. Like I know it will be. I know
Yeah.
people who love both horror and horror games want this for Puppet Combo and for just the community in general.
Yeah, yeah. I think I like you said, it's his eye for doing all this stuff. Like I said, it's just pure art. Like, to me it's like it takes you back to that the old style like horror stuff, like what we grew up watching and everything. And then the newer generation, you get the newer generation, there are a lot of them that definitely what I love about the newer generation is they appreciate and love stuff in the past, like you
Yep.
yourself.
Hmm.
You weren't alive when the thing came out and stuff, and the original Halloween. I barely remember any of that stuff, but I was around, and to see that people, the younger generation appreciate that kind of stuff and even bring some of that stuff back. What Public Combo is doing is, to me, it's awesome. And at first I was kind of like, is that the right time to do that stuff? And to me, it's like it is the right time. And if you look this year, they've put out a lot of horror movies this year. And I got to be a part of. I got to sit in off of Weapons. When they filmed a scene, I was in there and on Weapons, and so I got to see a little bit of the spookiness of that, and that was a hit. But it was like, it wasn't anything like, to me, it wasn't as good as like these older stuff because there's a lot of stuff that's computer animated and generated and CGI and stuff, and it's just to me it just takes away from a lot of other stuff. And now you got AI popping up, and then now it's getting harder to find out what's real and what's not. So I think Ben doing what he's doing, it's instead of he's not going forward and looking to the forward, he's going in the past, and he's bringing that back, that nostalgia. And I think any horror fan who sees this will actually appreciate the fact that it's made like a B movie horror, back in the '80s, and that's what he was going for, and I think he nailed it. I really do. It was really fun to watch him bring that world to life in such a setting that is back in the '80s, and it was just really cool, to be a part of that. So I hopefully, with these soft releases, hopefully it gets some distribution going, and next year it becomes, nation, in national theaters, and people really start to pick up on it. I hope so, because I've seen movies out there that aren't that good, and they're getting released in movie theaters and stuff, and I don't understand it. Like I don't understand how this movie or that movie made it out there and made it into national movie, into theaters. And I thought ours was a heck of a lot better than a lot of these movies, But that's just me, right? That's just me. So
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you're saying. I feel like a lot of AAA titles, there's just something missing. And
mhm.
going back is what we need. Like Terrifier, they went back, they have practical, just that whole team. I'm a really big dork for Terrifier. Like
Yeah.
I love it because it's brought back the 80s. And what
Hmm.
Puppet Combo is doing is with this movie is he's doing exactly that. Like or Ben.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the right to call him Ben, so I
No,
just
yeah,
keep
yeah.
referring. Um, I don't know what they would be more comfortable with, so I just um so yeah, just going back in time the way that a lot of like indie horror directors or
Mhm.
horror game developers, everything, just having that era come back is what we need. Showing people that it's not just the computer stuff that is the new way of doing things. It's
Yeah.
going back with that era, the Savini era, the
Yep.
the Robotine era, with John Carpenter era, with the music. I just everything was original and it was
Yeah.
new and it was just everybody was just having fun and going out there to see what happens and I think this would be cool. Let's just put it in there and see if people like it. And a lot it
Yeah.
worked. It worked. You got the Savinis, Tom Savini, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um just a great time for horror, I believe.
Yeah. I
And
think. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, and I said and it's just exciting to see that it's not dead and that people want more of it. And I really do think if this movie gets distributed properly, fans will love it. And it'll even probably put people on to doing something their own and making
Yeah.
their own fun project originally with like practical and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of filmmakers and stuff get away from, like the roots of filmmaking, to be honest with you. I'm a huge film guy. I love watching movies, and you got Tron, which is, those are great movies, and the practical effects, you can only do so much in that you have to put CGI in, right? Obviously, it's such a big budget movie, but like other movies that you see that don't need to put, CGI in. They should go more of a traditional one. I think they ruin the movies when they just get lazy and do CGI, all the time. I think there's a at least from what I've seen on my short little stint as working in the industry, but I feel like it takes away from a lot of the hard work that a lot of these people do, the FX and the prop guys and stuff. These people do such a great job, and you take that stuff out of their hands to me, when you go to CGI, and they don't get to hone their craft. They don't get to show what they're made of, on certain things. Not everything, right? Not everything, but some things, I feel like they steer away, and to me, it just takes away a little bit of that the hard blue collar work in that movie, because you got people in a room, doing the CGI and stuff, and you have people out here doing all this other stuff. Everybody's important, right? Like everybody does a great job, but to me, I prefer the out there getting the blood on you and doing all that other
Getting your
stuff.
hands
Yeah,
dirty.
exactly, right? Like I mean, that and that's not taking away anything from anybody who does CGI at all. That's just what I prefer. I prefer to see that in a movie. CGI, I think, has its place in other movies, but like I think horror, if you're in a horror film, you have to go practical. You just got to, it just to me that's the only way to go in horror.
And I think that it makes it more immersive for for people involved. And
Yeah, it makes it real.
if you're a victim, you're like, oh my God, this blood. What if I'm actually bleeding? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm actually dying right now.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, people have preferences, right? And there's nothing wrong with, like movies that are all this or, movies that are practical effects. Like I said, I believe practical effects is um where we keep like real cinema alive, with the hard work and the blood on your hands kind of thing. It's to me it's so awesome. Just like me working with the practical effects, I enjoyed it. They could have easily like probably CGI'd something in one or two things that I've done in the movie, but like I got to do it hands on, and that was great. And to me, that you get more into the character when you can do that. Like I give mad props to like Star Wars actors and anybody else who goes into those green screens and they have to act not seeing what they're acting in, and it's like, because all that stuff gets, it gets CGI'd in later, which is phenomenal. Like you can't tell on some things that are real and what's not, but those actors who have to act with nothing is truly amazing. I don't know if I could do something like that, but like I know I would be better at acting with someone in front of me instead of nobody and trying to do CGI stuff, which is crazy. Like I said, it's a crazy industry, but it's also fun, and get to learn and stuff like that too. So it's different, right?
Yep.
I start rambling on. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I feel like I look like a dork because I'm sitting here just taking it all in. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh wait, I have to say something. Um, but it's just the story is so interesting to listen to, and I feel like my vocabulary is not broad, so I just keep repeating myself
No,
because
no,
I'm
you're
just so
good. Trust me.
interested.
No, you're good. Trust me. You probably
Um,
have a wider vocabulary than what I do. I don't have much.
uh, well, I was going to say something. I was going to add something to what you were saying about how if you gravitate more towards like computer animation or like CGI and stuff like that, when making a horror film, I feel like a lot of the best horror movies, as far as like the effects goes, were there are some moments in horror movies that were made and became iconic because they were just last minute changes, like Friday the 13th, how we had Tom Savini was like, why don't we have Jason come out of the water and
Yeah,
like grab
yeah,
them? Yeah, like
yeah,
that wasn't part of the plan, and it's one of the most iconic scenes in horror films.
yep.
And I just or like Carrie, how you have that last jump scare. Just,
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think that was last minute. I mean, I there could be somebody out there that was like, that wasn't a last minute thing. Like it's something, it's okay. Don't crucify me. Don't crucify me.
Yeah.
Um, but just moments like that, just impromptu moments where somebody's like, you know what? Let's try this, and
Yeah.
just it takes away the creativity from people, like you've mentioned. And
Yeah.
so to move forward, uh, what Night Shift is doing this soft release. We want it nationally released, but when it does come for everybody to see it, what can people expect from this film that you think?
You can expect a very 80s campy movie. It's not a big budget picture, but what you can expect is like what you miss in most horror movies, and that's the suspense and the character building and then you get the horror part of it. So there's some scenes in here to me, watching them film some of these scenes, they were very like emotionally charged. Like I was watching them film two particular scenes. For me, it was hard to watch because number one, the acting was great, but number two, what they were filming. And I think audiences can relate. Horror fans can relate to this because, like I said, it takes them back in time for an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. And I don't remember how long the movie is, but it takes them back to back in the '80s to kind of live that night shift. Yeah, I think everybody who has run a job at some point in their young age has probably worked a night shift somewhere. So you can relate to the characters in this movie, and it's just I don't know. I mean, I hope people hope that we've lived up to the games and what they expect out of it because you have an expectation now too, right? Because you have the games that they compare that to, so you have that expectation. But I think with what Ben did and what he put out there, I think is exactly like the game. I think I think people can expect that, and I hope they enjoy it. There's some there's some comedy in there. There's some drama. There's blood. There's everything you could think of in a 80s horror movie, right? So hopefully when people go see this, that's exactly what they get out of it, and know that everybody in that movie they work their ass off to put out a great product. So hopefully they see that, they enjoy it, and there's enough people to make another movie.
Yeah, I want another movie. Nun Massacre would be freaking sweet.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that too. Yeah. What's funny is I've talked to some people because I get like some fans. I don't get a lot of them, but I got some fans messaging me and they were freaking out. Oh my goodness, you played the butcher, and I've been told that I've done great with the character. I've told that the movie was great. I haven't seen any bad reviews on the movie at all from what I've seen. So no one's put out any spoiler, which is good. And like you said, the horror community is really good. No one put out any spoilers, which is great. But like from what I've heard, I've heard it's exactly like what they thought it was going to be, and it was just like the game. And in my portrayal as a butcher was spot on. So these are people that have I've talked to, and they told me this because you want to hear, because there's been some showings already, so you want to hear how it is. I personally haven't seen the movie yet. I'm going up to Columbia, South Carolina, to the Babylon Kino at 10 o'clock to go watch my first showing. So I'm going to go up there. I'm going to do a Q&A up there. I got a news. They're going to interview me in a local news station down in Augusta before I go up there about the movie. So I'm going to try to get that information out there too. So, you know, hopefully enough people get to see it. Hopefully it's what they're looking for. But I'm sorry that was such a long answer to your question. But
No, it's okay. It's great. It's great. So if people want to go see the movie, you can go to South Carolina and meet up with Sean here and ask him some questions at the premiere. As of recording this episode, there's a premiere in LA that they added that I wanted to go to so bad. Just know that I I can't wait to see this movie.
I'm
I really
excited
want to
too.
see it.
I'm excited. I'm excited. From what I've seen, I really like the vibe. I love it. Like from what I've seen in the trailer, I was so excited when I saw it. It didn't disappoint at all. And I'm excited to see it for the first time a Friday night, and then I'll be going with my family and stuff here. I'm taking my wife out to see it when it comes to Atlanta on the 22nd. I think most of the cast are going to be there for that one. And
And you've mentioned to me before we started recording that your wife is not a horror movie
no, she's
fan.
not. She's going to support me. So she's going to support me. I told her, I said, I'll let you know when anything gory or bad comes up, you can, but she support me, and it means a lot to me, especially with her not being a horror fan and stuff. The fact that she is supporting me I'm very lucky to have a wife that just supports me in this. I couldn't do it without her and my kids' support. So I'm very blessed to have them back me up, and they my daughter my daughter, when I went on set, she knew I was going to play like the monster. So she drew a picture of me as the monster and her like holding hands. And I literally took that on set, and we had pictures taken. Me and some of the other people on set would take some of the other actors and stuff. And I would carry that picture everywhere I go. And I was like, my little girl drew this. This is daddy.
Oh.
And she loved it. Everybody loves her. Loves my daughter. So everybody's sick of probably seeing pictures of my daughter and my wife, but it was such a fun time to kind of talk to them and stuff. And I'm excited to see all those people again, hopefully in Atlanta next week. So
Oh, that is so cool. That's so beautiful. It's awesome that your family is so supportive, and WY for being there and supporting, even if she's not a horror fan.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
gonna be, are we gonna expect a butcher Halloween costume this year? You know, terrify
So
some kids in your.
probably not. We don't have a lot of trick or treaters around here, but Halloween night I will be down in Dothan for a screening where they filmed the movie, and I'm not sure if I'm dressing up. I'll probably be dressing up as the character. I have all my gear, all the entire costume. I got everything that I wore in the movie, so I'll be wearing all that stuff down there. The mask, I let Puppet Combo keep the mask. But the same person who made that mask made another one for me, so I'll be wearing that mask too. But everything else is screen worn. I'll be taking my hammer and going right down to Dothan, Alabama, dressed up. So and give
Ooh.
the fans.
Nobody better act up at that premiere.
I know, right?
We got the butcher there.
Yeah. And when you're 6'3" and you got a guy with a mask on, it's a little intimidating from what I've been told. So it's yeah, don't act up on Halloween night, right?
That's so awesome. What a treat. I'm jealous. I'm jealous whoever's gonna be there. You're getting
Yeah.
spoiled.
Yeah, it would have been nice to go to like all these premieres that they're having, but it's just not possible. Right now, I know they're trying to get some distribution out for next year, which hopefully it happens. And maybe when that happens, bigger things will happen. I really think I'm hoping that some conventions pick this movie up and decide to show it and stuff and invite some of the cast. Out there to help promote it too. I think that would be a really strong case to do that. So fingers
Um,
crossed that like Monster Palooza, hopefully something like that will be in the works later on down the road. But if not,
I'm like, I have a potential one I could try to message, but they don't follow me. But I'm gonna bug them and be like, you guys should show Night Shift at Creepy Con. Show Night
yeah.
Shift.
So what I do is what I've been doing since before the movie came out. I've been promoting myself and the movie as best I could because in the end, you want this movie to do good just as much as you want the director to. So I've been putting it out there. I've gained a lot of followers since then. You just have to promote yourself too. You have to. If you just sit back and expect someone to do all the work, then um, are you going to get that reward? Probably not. So you have to put yourself out there, and that's what I'm doing. Now's the time to do it. And, I don't mind, I love doing these podcasts and meeting up with other horror fans. But, in the end, I just want to get it out there and I'll do what I have to and, talk to people. And, it's real hard because you don't know what you can and can't say. You want to make sure you don't give something away. You don't want to say something that you're not supposed to say. So, it's always been a really delicate balancing act. I haven't told anybody for the longest time I played the killer because they haven't announced me. And so I've been very, very careful about what I say, what I post, and all that other stuff. But now, it's out there. I'm the killer. So I won't say nothing else about the movie because you have to go see it to see the movie. But like hopefully there'll be more showings and like horror conventions get some of that and we can promote it more that way too. So that's how I think Terrifier started like that, didn't they?
Yep.
I think it started really small like that and look where it is today. So it can be
Yep.
done, and the horror community is a great community. So get up and go see Night Shift.
Yep. Go see Night Shift. If there's a premiere in your town or your nearest town, go check it out. I thank you so much, Sean, for doing this and giving me this opportunity to talk with you. Thank you to Ben as well because he put me in touch with you.
Yeah.
I did not even expect a response. I was like, I don't think he's gonna answer, but I'll try it. I'll shoot my shot in there and see if he responds to me for
No,
this
that's good.
opportunity.
Yeah, Ben's a very private guy. Ben is very I didn't know this, and when they were saying this, that there's no pictures of him on the internet at all. You can't find any, and I tried to look, and I think I found one from way back, and he's such a great guy. Like I mean, but you can tell he's really into his work. So, he's such a good guy. Just real down to earth guy. I did ask him if I get a picture with him in my costume, and he was like, you could tell he was hesitant. And and I was like, well, I'll get with you a little bit later. You think on it, and I never went back to bug him for because I know, he's not very keen on it, and I wouldn't have posted any pictures of him at all. But it would have been nice just for my thing. But I know he's very private, so I respect that, and but he's most people who are to me, people who are smart and have something going are the ones that stay out of the limelight and they stay back in the corner and they do all that work and stuff. And he's not looking for any, fame or fortune or, any of that stuff. I don't think. I think he just loves horror that much that he wants to share with the world. And he's very, very good at what he does. And in the video game world, so going to the movie world is such a huge leap for him. And I'm just happy that I get to be a part of that, and see him work, and realizing how big he is now. I didn't know who he was back then, and I didn't know anything about him or his games when I started. And now I realize how big he is and how popular his franchise is, and now I feel very honored and very lucky to even work with him and be in this position. So I'm very humbled that he liked me, and the fact that he loved the way I played the character and he was happy with it. So um, very happy. So I was one of the few people that got to work with him that really enjoyed it. So
No. Uh, I'm very happy for you, and I'm very um, excited. Again, I can't express it enough. Excited to see this film when I have the opportunity to see it. Thank
yeah,
you so much. Thank you again. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I don't even know what to say. I'm just so grateful for this opportunity. And shout out to everybody who made this movie happen. Shout out to everybody who worked on it. I should have asked this sooner, but how long did it take to make that movie?
probably about 3 weeks, I want to say. I think they started filming a couple days before I got there, and literally like one of the last days was the morning I was leaving. So it was about I want to say it was about 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. It was a little bit longer, I think, than what they thought. And when I say I mean it was every night. It wasn't like we had a day off. It was every night, all night
Wow.
long, every night. Sometimes I'd get a little bit time off that I can go do something. I can go home or they didn't need me for a night. Interesting story, real quick. I'll tell you about the mask. When we came in, they didn't even have the mask, like anything ready for the mask at all. I would have to show you some pictures about like trying to make a mask on the fly. All we had was like a hood, and so they didn't know what to do. And Ben was very particular how he wanted the mask to look, and he didn't like any of them. And I remember. I brought my own. They did not like it. They was like, nope. He's like, that's not it at all. The one that he got made, they didn't like it, and then so we had an extra, some extra sacks to try to make the mask, and it just did not look good at all. And then I was like, because I think Ben wanted me to do my scene when I got down there, the first scene that I did, and it was funny because it was like, well, if they ain't got a mask, you would have thought that would have been the first thing they did. Because I brought my own stuff, and Ben had bought like his stuff, which it was a little tight on me at the time because I was about 40 pounds heavier back in the, back when I filmed it. I lost some weight. But that night, Maggie, the producer, was just kind of give me that mask, and she was messing around with it and doing all this stuff. And what she did, how is what you see in the movie, that's how it came to be. So and it just looked badass what she did to it. And it wasn't much. She did some, it looks like real fuzzy in the poster, but it's kind of frayed on the side and stuff from all the use that it's gone through in his life, and it's just it's funny. I think it looks cool as hell when it got done. And I don't know. It just we just had one mask, and that mask was holding on, and I mean it was holding on to a thread by the end of the filming because it started falling apart because I would wear it. They would have to tie it tight because I had to wear a mask underneath the mask, and so you couldn't see my eyes, and it was not the most comfortable thing to wear, but it looked badass. So you just grin and bear it. You just embrace the suck and go with it, and that's what
It
we
was
did.
worth it.
Yeah, it was. It was. Couldn't see nothing at nighttime, but it was worth it though. Like I said, you get your bearings, and I don't know. It's just a funny story with the mask because everybody, all these killers with all these masks. The masks make them iconic. So how that mask came to be was just kind of just someone bored, just kind of just doing their thing, and that's how the mask turned out. In the end. So it was pretty neat. So
That's a great story.
yeah,
I'm
I
just, I
like
have,
it.
you guys can't see me, but I have a stupid little grin on my face because this is just so fascinating to me. Um, again, I we got to get this movie out there, guys. We gotta get this movie out so everybody can see it because it'll introduce a lot of people to not only the games, but just bring back that 80s vibe, the slasher, the gore, the practical, all that. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens with Night Shift. Thank you again for coming. I know I've said it a couple times,
Oh
but
no,
this
thank
is
you, thank
Sean
you.
Watson. Do you have anything that you want to let people know about? Any plugs you want to do?
Uh,
Now is your time.
So, make sure they follow you, Delicate Cadaver, because you've treated me well. I absolutely
Oh,
love being on your show. So, anybody you have on, know that you will take care of them, and just go out and see the movie. Please support us if you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, great. If you don't, that's great. But go out and see it. And form your own opinion. If you love the '80s and you love horror, this 80 campy horror '80 movies, this is your movie, and I promise you won't disappoint. I enjoyed making it. From what I've heard, people who saw it really enjoyed it. So get out there, help support it, and hopefully it'll blow up next year into national theaters. And we can only hope, right?
yep. I'm hoping fingers are crossed, toes are crossed, legs crossed, everything.
Yeah, everything. Cross my eyes, we're all good.
Well, it was wonderful talking with you. I hope
You
you have
too.
a good rest of your night, and I hope we could talk again soon.
We sure will.
Thank you. Have a good
All right.
night.
See you at the movies.
And there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. If you've made it to the end, I appreciate it. Thank you so much to Puppet Combo for getting me in touch with Sean, and thank you to Sean for taking the time to talk to me and tell me about this experience. I really appreciate it. And finally, thank you so much to my uncle who made the artwork that you see as the thumbnail and as the photo that you see throughout the episode. It looks absolutely amazing, and I wish I could have it on a shirt. It's so cool. I love it. I will link his profile in the description as well so that you guys can check out his other artwork. He's really talented. Definitely check him out. And be sure to check out the description as well for the other links leading to some helpful stuff around here, like Puppet Combo's other work, his Patreon, and Sean's Instagram page, so you guys can give him a follow. Take care. Until next time. See ya.